Hello there. Let's talk about the counter movement to masculinity and femininity. So what is counter movement? Basically, it's a reaction to pain caused or experienced with the opposite gender. It manifests as resistance towards the opposite sex, not realizing that as a byproduct, this resistance is also directed against own gender, basically against themselves. The example is radical feminism that has been going against all men and asked women to be like men, to be masculine, thus creating a very hostile environment for the feminine expression and resistance against femininity, because it was perceived as being weak and disempowering. The second example is deeply hurt men who feel abused, manipulated, used by women, punished by society for being men, and emasculated and disrespected, and basically getting the message that men are not needed. And so these men are going against all women, against feminism. By going against the feminism, these men shut down their own healthy masculine expression, and they became more feminine with the traits of responsiveness and conditionality, thus flipping the polarity. And many men are not even seeing this. If a man is waiting for a woman first to be feminine in order to be masculine, that's passive. That's like a child is asking for a mission to be himself. That's conditional. I'm allowed to be me only when ... when she's in her feminine, when it suits me, when it's comfortable, etc. That's out of integrity. So essentially, it is a joint effort to destroy both genders by both wounded women and wounded men, not realizing that their actions are not only targeting the opposite gender, but also their own, contributing to the goals of their perceived enemy. And in this process, the gap between the masculine and the feminine, the men and women, it widens as a result of this counter movement. You can see this as an outcry, a protest of men towards the whole system, and an invitation for it to crumble completely. It's also a way to punish women and have revenge on them for abandoning the men, proving that men were right and women were wrong for doing this, to make a point. For wounded ego, it's more important to be right than being empowered, because right means to reaffirm your own identity. And many men would rather see suffering women join them in their suffering, because resentment breeds more resentment. Unfortunately, a lot of men see this as an empowering move to completely disengage having to do anything with a woman and avoid them like a plague. Part of the old ideals of men that also involved interaction with women were rooted in integrity. Unfortunately, today integrity is gone. It has become very conditional, very controlling, very forceful. It's like a man will only express a healthy masculinity when a woman is this or that first, or when a woman does this or that first. When a man acts like this, this is an indication of his shadow king, his immature, wounded masculine expressing itself. It's a lack of true masculinity. It's what the extreme feminism was fighting for, to shut down the expression of masculinity. And conditional masculinity is supporting this, whether men realize that or not. As long as the conditions are not right for the men, favorable, then in their perception, they cannot be men anymore. They cannot express fully masculinity anymore. And thus, the feminism won. So conditional approach to masculinity is following feminism. Today we see a lot of resentment coming from wounded men towards women and vice versa. It's like wounded men are projecting their trauma, basically, to all women, both healthy and unhealthy. Because their belief is that all women are the same, no exception. Many men preach accountability, and they often criticize women for having none, basically. Yet, these same men, they also have built up these thick walls of resistance to avoid any pain, to suppress pain, and to also avoid any feedback that doesn't reinforce their own wounded man identity. And as long as men have this rigid mindset, they're stuck in their trauma. They cannot move out of it. They're recreating and maintaining it unconsciously. If men give up, the whole world will be fucked up. Like it or not, but we're all part of the whole ecosystem, and it impacts us all. Contrary to the adopted isolated island mentality that I'm gonna be fine on my own no matter what's going on in the external ecosystem. We as these isolated islands, we are separated from the larger picture. It's narcissistic behavior, basically running away from unity and living in a delusion that it is not affecting us. When it is, it's running away from reality. We live in an age where we have been pursued by many sources that true empowerment is when I stand on my own, always, no matter what. I don't need others. I'm fully complete. I'm totally fine. I don't need nobody. While humans thrive actually when they cooperate, you know. Look how our ancestors lived in tribal systems, and they supported each other. So what I'm trying to say is, the less there is strong, healthy, unconditional masculine presence in this world, the more it invites the totalitarian dystopia, not challenged by anyone, as a new future reality that's unfolding. When there is not enough challenge and lack of protection from men, more extreme forms of total control and domination can be exerted, implemented, and forced over upon the whole society. So what all men need to see is that this is a lot bigger than just about you. Yeah? Please work on your resentment, work on your traumas, clear your suppressed emotions and disempowering beliefs, but don't stay in them. You are desperately needed now, more than ever, more than you realize. Counter to all the signals in the social media and that go against men. It's like they're creating this false narrative, this false reality that you are not needed. It's the opposite. You are needed. Extremely, desperately. The question is, can we men move past our resentment or continue living for the rest of our lives out of spite? Keep feeding our traumas. What it's gonna be? We need to make a choice as a collective, as a whole. Right now there are many online gurus, coaches, teachers who weaponize this massive resentment among men and use it for their marketing, use it for their own financial gain, positioning themselves as the savior or the helper, when in reality it's the opposite. Power over is expression of tyrannical, wounded shadow king. And unfortunately many men don't see this trap, and they cannot discern between healthy expression of masculinity versus unhealthy expression of masculinity that is also offered as a way out. We all have emotional baggage, both men and women. Often you hear this narrative in the men's circles. Oh, like, she has emotional baggage, dump her. It's like you're completely free of that, you know? And often men get triggered by the women's emotional baggage because they have not resolved their own, and it's a resonance, a subconscious, unconscious resonance, you know. So the first thing to do is look in the mirror first and see what you can control as a man, you know. What we cannot, you know, accept in others is often a reflection what is already inside of ourselves that we haven't fully accepted yet. In the end, I want to say, if you're a man listening to this, know that you are needed very much, even if the world is signaling the opposite. You know, it's often the deceiving tactic to discourage you. Do not buy into this lies. Stay strong.